All right, New York City, make some noise! Come on! Let's go, let's go, let's go! Woo! All right. Welcome to the New York City world premiere of London Reel's 5th documentary feature film, Reconnect. Come on. Oh, you have no idea how glad I am that this is finally done. For the past 2 years, me and my team, we've been sweating, we've been crying, we've been sometimes punching each other just to get this film done. It's been a labor of love. There were times we thought we should stop it. We thought we should maybe destroy it. But over 2 years, we finally created this piece. We're super proud of it. And we're super excited to come to New York City for the very first time ever and premiere one of our films at London Reel. And we're super grateful to everyone who came here. Some people have traveled from long distances. Some people coming from San Diego. Where's Wes Watson and Valerie? There he is. Come on, give it up for Wes Watson, this man here. Wes is from my hometown. He'll be on London Reel tomorrow. And me and my team have been camped out down on Canal Street for the past 6 days, filming episodes of London Reel. We've done 14 so far. We did 4, I think, yesterday, and it nearly fried my brain. But we always wanted to come here, and I have some other reasons why we came here this week I want to share with you a bit later. But it's been fantastic. Everyone's been super generous with their time, and I can't wait to drop everything on you that we've been doing this week. Tonight, after this film, we're going to have a Q&A. And joining me on stage is my co-star, my partner in crime, and that is Mr. Dennis McKenna. Dennis, please stand up. Let's give this man a round of applause. You can sit down. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis and his late brother, Terrence McKenna, are what I would call the OG gangsters of the psychedelic movement. I mean, come on, right? If you have any idea about who these guys are, they pretty much have been there and done that. If it wasn't for those two gentlemen, I don't know where we would be when it comes to understanding psychedelics and the consciousness. When most of you were in diapers, Terrence and Dennis were going through the jungles of Colombia down to La Chorrera, if I'm right, consuming massive amounts of psilocybin mushrooms and working on something called the time wave theory. Is that right, Dennis? Yeah. I think Dennis nearly lost his mind when he was down there, but they brought back a lot of knowledge for us, including something I think called the Mushroom Grower's Guide that taught everyone in North America how to grow those little bastards. Anyone here ever eat one of those things? Don't worry, there's no cameras here. No one's gonna see, right? Well, if you have ever had one of those, you can probably go up and thank Dennis and his brother Terrence later, because they pretty much mass manufactured that. So you were kind of the internet of psychedelics back then. And these guys have had major impacts on this whole movement. This movie could not have been made if not for the work of Dennis and Terrence some 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I'm super grateful. It was a big honor to be able to go through this adventure with Dennis. And Dennis has a new academy called the McKenna Academy. And I look forward to working with you, Dennis, and our London Reel Academy to really advance a bunch of the ideas that you're going to see here tonight. Next, I want to talk about a place called New York City. Yeah. Now, I have had one of the most interesting relationships in my entire life with this city. More complicated than any woman, than any man, than any company, than anything else has been this city called New York. And I still remember back in 1993, I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed graduate of MIT, and I packed everything in a white van in Boston, and I drove 4 hours into the big city. I still remember going across like Triborough Bridge thinking, this place looks like something out of a movie. It was just crazy. And I got here, and I was super excited to be here. A few months later, I took the NR subway down to the World Trade Center downtown, the old one. And I remember walking out of that thing and looking up at the sky and thinking, wow, this is incredible. And I was also thinking, wow, you probably look like a tourist right now. And you're probably going to get mugged, because that used to happen back then. But I didn't care. It was just amazing to be there. And I walked across the street to One Liberty Plaza. I went to the 33rd floor. And I got introduced to what it means to be a derivatives trader at a place called Bankers Trust. And it was a brutal environment. There were guys there that literally abused me physically, emotionally, and in many other ways, but there was also a couple of good guys there. One of them's here tonight. Mr. Kent Kurtz is in the house. Raise your hand. There he is. And Kent took me under his wing and really tried to take care of me, but I was a bit of a mess. I remember he took me for a double date one time in the West Village. And, because Kent is Kent, of course it was with two, I think they were models. And I couldn't even speak at lunch. And at the end, Kent was just like, "What happened to you?" And I was like, "I don't even know." And so I was very green, and I was trying to figure out this city, which is New York. And this is a fascinating place, this city. And I think it brings out sometimes the best of you, sometimes the worst of you. I think it shows you what is inside you. And 8 years later, in 2001, I had gone and I had come back, and I was struggling. I was having some difficult times. My alcoholism had turned into a drug addiction. And one night, after doing a bunch of lines of heroin, I went to my girlfriend's house and I stopped breathing. And that was a pretty dark moment for me, for her. Luckily, she was there. Otherwise, I would be not here and there would be no movie. But she called the ambulance and they shot me full of that Naxalone stuff, and I survived. But it marked for me the downfall of that year in my life. A few months later, my buddy from MIT, the same guy that drove to New York City with me in a white van, fired me from my job. That girlfriend of 4 years left me. And to kick it all off, a couple months later, some guys flew some planes into the World Trade Center. And my neighborhood in the East Village smelled like dead bodies and jet fuel. And it was one of the lowest moments of my life. I remember going about 8 days and not even talking to another human being. And luckily, I realized that I had to get the hell out. And that's what I did. I moved to New York City and landed there, to London. I landed January 3rd, 2002, and I started rebuilding my life. I never touched heroin again, and I started becoming the man that I am today. You wouldn't have recognized me back then. A stiff breeze would have blown me over. I definitely wouldn't look like this. But I started making myself into a man, and I went back into the financial industry, and I built a successful career. But it wasn't until about 9 years ago that I started London Real, where all the change started happening. Because I was accountable to all of you every week to show up and to get uncomfortable. I actually am an introvert. I would rather not be here right now. But it was important for me to get on camera. Again, not comfortable for me. And put out all these great messages into the world. And it started making me show up, and pretty soon I had to be a leader. And pretty soon, all these bad things about me started evaporating away through all of this hard work and all of this pursuit of excellence and in trying to do something for the greater good. One of my guests early on said, "Brian, we are all one." And I thought, you must be crazy. But I kept hearing that over and over again from some of the greatest guests on London Real, including Dennis when he came. And I thought, maybe there's something going on here. A few years later, I became a father for the first time at 45 years old. That wouldn't have happened without all of you and without London Real. And so I started to come back. And about 2 years ago, I came back to this city because a crazy guy named John Joseph, who was the former lead singer of the hardcore punk band the Cro-Mags, invited me here and challenged me to do an Ironman race. Has anybody watched my movie Iron Minds? All right, if you haven't, shame on you. Go watch it. It's free on YouTube. And John got me here and started putting me through the paces, and he talks like a real hard New Yorker. But he took me around the East Village, and everything I saw was reminders of my own failure. And at one point, I was on a bike doing a maximum rate heart rate test, and my whole crew was with me, filming me for this Ironman race I was going to do, and tears start streaming down my eyes. And for the first time on camera with John Joseph on a sofa on 2nd Street and 2nd Avenue, I told my whole story. I hadn't told anybody in 16 years. My wife didn't know. And sure as hell, nobody from London Real knew my story, and I told them that disgusting old H word. How could that be, Brian? The truth is, a lot of people have addictions of all sorts, and it was a powerful thing for me to do. And I started reshaping my relationship with this city. But it wasn't done yet, and that's the reason I'm here tonight. I'm here to put this thing to bed forever. I came here tonight to do this premiere, to tell this city that from now on, this place doesn't remind me of pain and trauma. From now on, this is a place where I come to create stuff, to create vision for the future, to create things that the whole world can learn from. And so I'm asking for your help tonight to make this an incredible premiere, because if we can do this right, I'm seriously putting this to bed forever. And from now on, New York City is a collaborator. It's not a reminder of me of my horrible past. Will you help me do that tonight? Cool. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Whew. And so I want to say a couple things before we play this film for you. What you're about to see is not a movie as you know it. I know this looks like a theater where you might go see a superhero movie or a comedy or maybe even a documentary about someone on some other side of the world, but that's not what this is. We don't create entertainment. What we're trying to create is something I call transformational content. I'm trying to show you something here tonight that's going to remind you about something in your life, some challenge you're having, some way that you need to step up in your life, confront your fears, get uncomfortable, and take your life to the next level. That's why we do this. That's why you're going to see me up here tonight in all sorts of a mess. And we're doing it so you can see something. And so you've got a 90-minute homework assignment. And I want you to pick out something here. So when you go home tonight, you don't say to your wife or your husband, or for some of you, maybe your dog is all you have to talk to, that, hey, I saw this movie about ayahuasca and Brian Rose. Because this movie is not about ayahuasca and Brian Rose. This movie is about you and different aspects of your life that you can take to the next level. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit sick and tired of everybody pointing the finger at who is wrong in this world. I've got the Republicans pointing at the Democrats. I got the climate changers and the climate deniers, and everyone is saying it's someone else's fault. Well, I reject that. I think it's all of our own faults. I think we have to take the responsibility and we have to take the action. We have to lead our lives to the best of our ability to show people. I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old boy. Let me ask you a question. Do you think they do what I say? Hell no. Yeah, wait till I'm 20. But what they do is what I do. They see dad doing things that sometimes scare him. They see dad doing things sometimes he doesn't want to do. They see dad doing things that is taking the higher route. And that's what is important for each one of you to do. To go back and lead your life, lead your family, lead your community, lead your company, and take things to the next level. Because I personally am super optimistic about the future, especially when it comes to all of you. I can see all of you going out there and making a change, and that's how we get ourselves to the next level. That's how we start vibrating on another conscious level. And that's how I think we figure out all of these problems in the world. So that's your homework assignment for tonight. And to finish off, I just want to say these final words. Myself and the team at London Real, we've put a lot of time into this. I think the last time we counted, it was 125,464. That is the number of frames in this movie. And myself and my director, Luis, who's the guy in the corner. We spent the last 2 years making sure everyone was perfect. And we really hope that this movie can mean something to you. And the plan is to drop this to the whole world in the next 2 weeks. And we really believe this will change millions of lives. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Many of you have been with me from the start and kept me accountable and kept me on that path. I've still got a long way to go, a lot of changing to do, and a lot more ways to be honest with myself. But I feel so great being back in this city. I feel great doing this premiere. And thank you all for being here. Thank you. Yeah. This standing ovation is supposed to come afterwards. Thank you so much. And so now, without any further ado, on behalf of myself and the entire team at London Real, I give you our 5th feature-length documentary film, Reconnect.